Without further ado, I'm going to announce or introduce our speaker for today, who is Phil Alcock. He has a number of different titles. Whenever I look at LinkedIn and things like that, I'm like, which one do I put? What do I do? Yeah. But basically, I've come across Phil initially as the co-founder and CEO of PBL Future Labs, which is a company that works with schools on PBL and AI mashup, PBL 2.0. And we've been working together with Windsor on certain things. And then we've kind of evolved the relationship as I've got into more to do with AI and that kind of thing as well. So, as I've written a little bio stolen from the PBL website, Phil is a teacher turned edtech thought leader. He's written a number of articles, blog posts, all about AI in education, Claude, NotebookLM, design processes, PBL, you name it. And his posts get a lot of impressions weekly, 50,000 plus. He has 11,000 plus LinkedIn followers. So I always tag him when I'm doing things so then he can pass it on to his many followers. He's a pioneer in experiential learning and one of the leading voices bridging AI tools with classroom practice. And you can't go far wrong than following what he is talking about at the moment, especially in our setting. So basically, how it's going to work, nice and simple. Phil's going to walk us through NotebookLM today, which I'm really excited about because I think as one of the products that I've kind of really used on a day-to-day basis, or in the last 18 months or so when it first came out. It has some really cool features and is what AI is all about, I think, in terms of bringing it into education. And so he's going to talk us through some ways of using NotebookLM to supercharge our work, beginning the basics, adding in some wow moments to workflows, all those kind of things. And hopefully you can step away having learned a bit more and you can go and try it out in your classrooms or personally or whatever it is. We're then going to do a Q&A at the end if there are any burning questions. As I said, you can still type into chat any questions as we go. And if it's the right moment, I'll drop in and say, Phil, someone's just said this, they've asked a question. The idea is that it's a kind of play along webinar. So Phil's going to show things live using NotebookLM, but if you want to sign into NotebookLM, well, get it open as well and try some stuff out, then feel free to do so. It may be helpful in learning how things work, is actually doing it practically at the same time. So I'm going to hand over to you, Phil, and I'm going to see if I can let other people in. And so I'll stop sharing my screen. And we're muted.
Cool. Thank you, and welcome everyone. So yes, my name is Phil. I'm from Australia. I'm currently living in Mexico at the moment. I've been working with the Windsor School a little bit, working with different schools around the world. As Tom said, I wear different hats. I like doing research into AI processes, automations, lots of things. So I'm really in the world of AI. I wake up and learn about it. I talk about it with my friends. My wife says that I shouldn't mention the two letters AI anymore because I talk about it so much. And I think I was kind of lucky. I was thinking about this whole experience and thinking about, I started as a teacher. I was a teacher. I still feel like I'm a teacher. And I was in a classroom and I started using AI. And I had a really good knowledge of project-based learning and game-based learning, experiential learning. There's so many types of it, but it's that sort of learning from doing. And I like to think of them as the kind of fun projects, that you're going and doing campaigns to save trees and all sorts of stuff. And what I've really worked out over many sessions, I've probably had over 15,000 interactions with AI. I've read way too much. And in the end, it's sort of simple. After all of that work, testing things, trying complicated things, and the more like the simpler that you think of how you're using AI, the better results. And I'm also writing a book now called AI with Purpose. And this is what I'm sort of going to show you, one of the ways that we can show and use AI with purpose. We don't necessarily need to learn a huge amount of information just to feel like, oh, now I know what to do. Google Notebook is great, and I'll show you today exactly what I'm learning. So just give me a moment. I'll just share this. Okay. Is that going to, maybe I'll just share I made it as a poster, so it's not sharing, but that's okay. Let's go. So can you see that okay? Yep, that's all right. Okay. So this is a document. If you don't have this already, I'm sure Tom can share that with you. And this is how Notebook looks, basically. I'll show you this in the real NotebookLM. But really what you've got to do, you have the sources side of it, which is about finding your inspiration. And I think of it like that, not just here's what I need to learn, but find your inspiration. And I'll tell you what that means very shortly. And then on the right-hand side is the studio. And this is where people are making slideshows, slide decks. They're doing these incredible podcasts, video overviews. If you've ever seen, there's a new version of video overviews which look amazing, which I'm sure is going to be released to teachers soon enough. And it has animations and lots of really cool things. You can have some other functions as well, make reports, infographics, data tables, depending on what you're doing. So that's kind of the idea that I want you to think about just for now. And I'm going to show you a notebook that I made. And this is a way to really, to sort of just start the journey, let's say. I feel like the best things I learn is when I move away from trying to think about all the things that I need to work out and I just do something that I love. Because if it's something you're passionate about, you're going to find it a lot easier, or something that you know a lot about, to work with AI and understand a lot of things about it. So this is a notebook that I made. And as you can see on the left, I have some different coffee beans. I'm obsessed with coffee. Tom Millinchip knows this. I drink coffee a lot. I love Mexican coffee. I love Oaxacan coffee. It's amazing. And there's lots of incredible coffee in Mexico. As a person from Melbourne, Australia, we're called the coffee snobs of the world. And we always talk about coffee. And if we don't have good espresso coffee, it's not good enough. Like, we go to other places and whinge all the time. When I went to America at a conference, I saw the coffee there and I could understand the jokes about American coffee. It was very expensive and it was terrible. And, you know, I don't know, I love the idea of coffee. I love talking about it, the different types of beans from around the world, how they grow them in higher altitude, and it takes longer for them to ripen because of the air, and you get these different flavors. So as a previous chef before I was a teacher, and really how I got into teaching was doing cooking classes with kids, it's something for me to be passionate about. So all I did here, and I'll show you with a new one that you can follow along, was just I just looked up some Mexican coffee, you know, types of, I looked up a guide to Mexican coffee with a focus on the beans, or something like beach. I've got beach in my head. Maybe I need to go. Guide to Mexican coffee with a focus on the beans. And then you can do a quick search in here and you'll get your inspiration. So this is my inspiration, is coffee. I'm passionate about lots of things, music and arts and many things, but for this one, I chose coffee. On the right here, I chose some different options. One of them here, you'll see by the icons, is an infographic. Another one here is a slide deck. And this one here is the video. So let me just show you them very briefly. I don't want to show you exactly. But the infographics are a great way to just get some visuals happening. You know, with all of this information and the inspiration on the left, I'm like, what do I want to know? And so I want to know the areas. And as you can see, they have the Chiapas coffee, which produces 40% of Mexico's yield, the Veracruz coffee, the Wise Veteran, and the Oaxacan, which is my favorite style. There's some different information about these beans, but as you can see here, this is almost like just looking at this, there's so much you can learn just from one image and even just get some questions for yourself. And so for me, I was sort of like, this is interesting. I'm still looking at these ones, these rare specialty varieties. So these are lots of inquiry questions. I'm thinking, what about this? What is this? You know, I didn't even know that these existed in Mexico. So already I'm interested. I want to learn about it. And I ended up asking some questions and making some slide decks and things like that. As you can see, the Mexico's map of flavor, it doesn't always have the right maps and things with Google Notebook, but it really gives another sort of way of looking at it and doing a little bit of investigation. You go through it, you can have a look at this one. So this was the slow cooker one, what I just sort of talked about before. So I was already interested in that. It's something, as in an inquiry, imagine if I was, you know, learning about science or something, I would really be wanting to understand the science of how these beans ripen, how they get grown, how they harvest them, things like that. So that was that. This is a video that it makes as well. So in here as well, the options, you can actually go to show prompt. And so this is what I wanted to show you. All I wrote here was, I want to learn about the types of coffee in Mexico and the flavor profiles. Can you show the coffee bean, the location of where it is from, and the flavor profile? So it's not just asking it, make me a video. I see a lot of people with AI, they can be very, you know, sort of demanding with it. Just do it, get it done. And then it doesn't give the right answers. And then they're like, this is not very good. But as soon as you start having that learning goal or something, then you can start to work out the way that the AI is showing you how it made it. So of course, I watched this video. We won't have time
we are diving
to watch it now,
deep
but
into
I'll
a
show you a little bit.
really respects the environment. So where does all this amazing coffee actually come from? Well, while coffee grows in 16 different states, about 90% of it comes from what we can call the Big Three. So let's take a little journey, a road trip through this map of flavor and explore the 3 states that are the absolute giants of Mexican coffee. Okay, so let's meet our main players. First up, you've got Chiapas, which we're calling the heavyweight. Think powerful chocolate and nut flavors. Then there's Veracruz, the wise veteran, offering something way more delicate.
So I just wanted to show you that. I'm not going to show you the whole video. I'll let you make your own video and explore it a little bit. But when I watch that, I start to listen to, you know, is this giving me the right learning experience? If I was a student, am I going to learn? You know, I get overwhelmed when I watch this. I see a lot of teachers will go and make these videos and give them to students and then sort of be like, well, they're not very good because the students aren't learning so much or whatever. But you got to think about it. It's quite overwhelming, isn't it? You know, there's 7 minutes of information about coffee and I'm like, whoa. I just want to learn about the beans and things like that. It's getting a lot, but it's good to listen to. It's really good to listen to. And that's where, you know, you can really think about that prompt. You know, what exactly are you trying to teach? Because just saying you want to learn about the types of coffee and the flavor profiles, it's a very wide question. So the smaller you can have that question that's related to the learning, you can actually include a learning goal. So you could also put in a standard. You could connect that with a particular type of learning where you're asking, you know, to study a particular science. I know that Tom mentioned that he had a grade 2 class today. You know, what would they want to learn about? And you know, how would that be engaging for those students? There's lots of questions you have to ask because AI will generally give you what it thinks is right. And what it thinks is right is not always what you want. So that's something really important to think about. So really think about the custom prompt and the learning goal, and think about how that links in with the inspiration. If you then upload a book or a chapter of a book, and then you just make a video of it, what is the learning goal that you're trying to teach people? What do you want the students to start learning? And these are really important things to start thinking about. So I'm going to give you a live demonstration. I'll see if I can perhaps get a little bit of help, or if people want to go along a little bit. So this is, I'll give you a little bit of time to set up just so you can open up Google Notebook and create a new notebook. It's basically notebooklm.google.com. I'll put that into the chat as well. And it's as simple as creating a new notebook. I'm happy to show the kind of things that I work on, but I work on all different types of things. I've got a Spanish one that I'm working on. I look at the architecture of things. Tom's looking through it, thinking, what does Phil do all the time? And now he's getting an insight into my mind. There's an AI for parents that I'm working on. There's my book that I put in there, and I'm creating infographics and mind maps. I have lots of interest in sustainability and crocodiles, of course, because I'm Australian and I'm weird and I like crazy animals that want to kill you. I've got manta rays, and so lots of these are really specific learning. This one here is about equivalent fractions and how you can make an escape room and things like that. So I won't show you them. I don't want to overwhelm you at the moment. If you just go into create your new notebook, it'll come up with a screen for you. And in this screen, you can basically find your information, find your inspiration as soon as you like. You can upload files, you can put in websites, you can put in YouTube, you can add things from Google Drive, you can add copied text. I would definitely always check with the legality. Some schools and libraries have particular reasons you can upload things to AI or you can't upload it, so always check that. Be very careful if you're going to put any type of student work never identified, because it does go to AI and it does go to a system. But just for, as this example, for your own project, start simple and think about something that you want to research. So what should we research? I might ask the people watching, who's got an idea of something that I should research? Happy to do it for you. It'll be very interesting. Just a random idea is okay. The first thing that comes to your mind. If not, I'll annoy Tom and ask him.
I can jump in. Let's go with one of the symbols of the. Oh no, here we go. Liliana says Colombian food. There you go.
Oh, Colombian food. I'm very interested.
Yeah. Let's do that.
I had some in Monterrey in Mexico. The empanadas. Oh my goodness, they're good. I'll go to Colombia one day. All right, this might inspire me even more. So Colombian food is, let's just go that. We'll do a fast research. So here you actually have a few little options. You have your drive if you have already documents there. It can be good and bad. Fast research, and you also have a deep research. And deep research, I do that for looking into high-end strategies, but if I'm just trying to do a bit of quick research, this works fine for fast research. All right, ready to be hungry. Looking forward to seeing what it comes up with. So it will take a little bit of time, and well, actually, there you go. It is very fast now. It's getting faster every day, it seems. So you can see that there's some different sources here. And what I like about this also, I'm so methodical with AI. I don't just dump stuff in all the time and just hope for the best. I really try to think about, what is it showing? And Wikipedia it's a good one to start. It's not always so accurate. The Uncover Colombia is the next one of the tasty regional foods. I won't show you, it doesn't really matter, but it's just, for now, I'm just having a quick scan and just think, well, okay, that sounds good. Sometimes it might work, so you could just try to import them. But let's say we're happy with that. We've checked the sources. We say, yep, that'll give us lots of information. Okay, so cool. We'll just wait for it. It'll load it up like this. It'll spin. It doesn't always work. So some of them don't work. You can easily remove the failed sources. Sometimes they stop AI and Google using those sources. That's why it comes up like that. So in here is your chat. And I mean, some people like this. I like it for general information. You know, what foods are there in this list? You know, give me 10. So something, it'll just sort of give me that little bit of information. It'll take a little bit of time, not too long. It'll check the sources. It'll come up with some information. So I knew I'm going to get hungry. I knew it. This looks delicious. I'm going to say these names very wrong, so I'm not going to try. But Ajiko, I might have to ask some pronunciations after this. Very interesting. So I can see that it's given some good information. I can see here as well that it also gives where the information is from, where the sources are from. So you might be like, what is that? Where did that come from? And then you find a website and it might be some new dish or who knows. It could be from a regional area that you don't know about, and then you can find that out. So that's kind of like a little way that you can gather the information. Over here in the studio is where it sort of gets exciting, in my opinion. I'm sure they're going to continue to keep updating this area. One of the main things that I do, and this is a bit of a Phil tip, is I produce the mind map first. And this is actually a really good strategy that people use when they're studying. They find that if they have the mind map, they have some really good areas of study. So you imagine if you're a teacher, you're teaching Colombian food because you're the luckiest teacher in the world and you just get to cook food. It's my dream job. Then you can have a look at what the information has given you. So straight away, some traditional soups. I saw one of those before. That looks delicious. The Ajiko. And then you can see, you can even go into it. It'll tell you the ingredients of it. So straight away, what you're doing with the mind map is you're starting to think of projects, or you're starting to think of different areas that you can focus on. You can save the mind map. You can put it back into the AI if you like. You can save it and keep it. You can save it and put it into another AI and ask it for some ideas. But let's say we're just interested in, Tom, what would you like? I'll let you pick one.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go with the arepas. They're pretty good. So the national
arepas, the national dish. Okay, sorry, I was looking on this side. The arepas. Okay, so the arepas is the national dish. Okay, so this is where I'm going to show you what I'm doing as well, just so you can see exactly how I work with these kind of things. I always have a Google document open, or a notepad, or I have a notepad on me. And then what I'll do is I'll think about, where am I? The arepas. Okay, so I want to write, I want to learn about arepas. How do I spell that? A-R-E-P-A-S. Cool. So that's a pretty simple way to start. It is a national main dish, and I have no idea what it is. So that's enough for me. That's a good enough question. What is it? You know, so I won't even write that. I have no idea what it is. I love food, so you can explain a lot about it. And I am sure I will understand. I will say, what else? Explain it in a, what would I say, informative way. And you can use persuasive language. So you see, I will develop this prompt a little bit more. I will kind of go back to it and think about, all right, what exactly am I learning? Can I turn this into learning goals? What am I exactly doing? But just for this, and even a first exploration, this is actually pretty good. I've thought about what I want to learn. I've given a little bit of constraint, which is saying that I have no idea. So the AI is already kind of, it's not going to assume that I have a knowledge about it. It may do that, but normally if you say you have no idea, it will be very good. And especially for some reason with the video overviews, if you say that, it gives you this great explanation like you have no idea, but it's actually a better explanation than if you do have an idea. So it's always just good to write little things like that with AI. I love food. Sorry, I should have made this a little bit bigger. I love food, so you can explain a lot about it, and I'm sure I will understand. And that's okay for now. I'm more than happy to work with that. This is something that I would definitely think about getting used to, this habit of taking it away from the app and bringing it into you. This is you. This is all your mind. You're not influenced by the other delicious foods on there or anything. You're just sitting here and you want this information. So we'll go back into here. As you can see, we already had so much interest just from these kind of mind maps. And I always think it's just a great place to start. It looks a little bit better than the sort of text, and it just gives me that information. So then I might do an infographic. As you can see here, well, I might move this over here. You can have some different options in here. You choose the main language. If you do want it in more than one language, you can actually put that information here as well. And I'll show you that. You can choose your style. You can choose your visual style. I swear that Google's stealing some of these from me because the sketch one I always do. But it's okay. I've got Google. I give them some feedback sometimes and it gets through. So I guess they listen. The level of detail, I'm not really sure what the difference between these are. They kind of come up with a lot of detail anyway, but the concise one should not have too much text. But let's just say I want to put in this information. I want to learn about arepas and that. I'll let that generate at the time. I'm also going to go and do a slide deck. I'm going to do a detailed deck. I might just do it short because I don't need too much information about this. I just kind of want to get an idea. And again, I could put that in. With the slide deck and also with the infographic, I didn't really mention, you can add the kind of visual layout or the way that you would like it to be. So start with some delicious pictures of food, of the types of arepas, I guess. I don't even know if there's types, but I saw that there was filling, so I would imagine. And as simple as that, I'll just generate it. The audio overviews are very good as well. You can do a deep dive, a brief, critique, debate. It's all very interesting. I would say to experiment with these. Again, if we put in the information, this is an audio overview. So you got to think about, you know, start with a simple explanation and end with more complex facts. So I still want to be able to learn some simple, just like any audio, it gives you that clear picture. And after that, summarize the audio. And that's another way of doing it. You can choose a short, default, or long. They last for the long ones can last around 20 minutes. So it's quite long. And I try to just do the short ones for audio. That's just personal preference. I don't think it should be too long. And then I'll generate it. I'm going to just do a brief one as well. So that'll be that. What haven't I done yet? And the videos is another great one. We have two choices here, an explainer. We have a brief. We can choose the visual style. So it gets quite interesting with the video styles as well. I quite like the whiteboard one for teaching. You can do a custom visual style. So you could have, you know, drawings that look like they are made by a professional artist or something. And, well, this is quite good. Explain Colombian food as an expert chef. All right, so I could explain the arepa as a professional chef. I never thought about that. So it does give you some good ideas sometimes. I could go back and use my original document as well. And there you go. It starts generating them over here. The infographics will be a little bit quicker. They're actually getting quite quick to generate. And we can have a look here. So we can see Liliana, if this is correct. You'll definitely know better than me. My goodness, it looks very delicious. Wow, I'm saying wow too. I think I'm gonna have to speak to my wife and say we're gonna have to find a Colombian restaurant around here. That looks amazing. So can see that there's using some corn. Colombia in a single bite, Anthony Bourdain. Well, I like Anthony Bourdain, so that's cool. And as you can see, really great image. And so simple how we made this. And a lot of people are always asking me, how do I make my infographics, Phil? Like I get messages all the time. And it's like, just like this, I create them quite simply. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. That's just AI, but with the new models and things, they're just getting so good. So yeah, thank you. That was a great choice. I'm incredibly hungry now. Then we have the audio and the slide deck and video. What I might do is just stop for a little bit while these generate, and then we'll see if anyone has any questions just in the middle. We might want to give you an activity to do. So I'll just stop here now so you don't sit there watching the microwave cooking. It's not so exciting. So I might open it up now. What do you think, Tom? And see if anyone has any general questions before we sort of can assign you an activity or work something to do.
Yeah, sure. And it doesn't have to be about NotebookLM. It could be about something else as well. I mean, Phil knows all these different AI tools. So I don't know if anybody on the call's got anything in particular that is burning away. If not, I'll try and think of something in the next couple of seconds. But so if you do, to be honest with you, there aren't many of us on the chat. So if you want to unmute and kind of fire away, then go for it. Or if you want to type it in the chat, then that's fine as well.
Yeah, I'm really interested. Like, what did you think of that process? Have you done this before? Would it be something that you would consider doing?
Yeah, I mean, if I kind of use an example like where, because I talked about NotebookLM at the event we had a couple of weeks ago, and one of our colleagues at Windsor, who's the chemistry teacher in the high school, we've had a couple of discussions about her use of it, because she says she still likes learning, she still likes digging into all the research and all of the papers and things, but to kind of draw it all together and kind of make all those connections and then bring it to the table so she can actually, you know, teach about it, she's found it's really useful for that, just kind of putting what she knows in her head and yeah, kind of twisting it in a way that her 15-year-old are going to understand it, rather than someone who's gone for university and taught it, right? So it's really good at doing that. It makes all those, and what I find as well is that it makes a lot of connections that we don't make, like you just said about the whole get the chef to explain it, right? That's the whole point of AI, is that it's making connections between different things. And so sometimes you'll say, right, I've got these 10 documents, find those connections. They may be about different things, right? And so you can just kind of, can you find these links, a bit like three degrees of separation or whatever it is with adults and humans. And it's the same thing. So you kind of say, how can I tie these different ideas together and produce it as a kind of a slide? So there's lots of cool things with it. I mean, me as a primary school teacher, and I've said this in this presentation, like what I use it for is actually quite a lot of the visual stuff, right? Because I think I told you on the call the other day where the wild things are, and I think I showed it in the talk I did as well a couple of weeks ago. I think if you hit the right spot, as you said, sometimes it's a load of rubbish, but other times you hit the right spot artistically and theme-wise, and you're just like, that is it, it's nailed it. And even if you spent hours on Canva by yourself or with PowerPoint, you could never recreate that, right? Unless you sat down and actually graphically designed it. And so it just gives you a powerful kind of resource to kind of back up some of your things, especially when you've got little people who are all about the visuals, all about the kind of that they can't read much, they don't read much text on the screen, and so to have all those pictures and stuff going on in the background is really been really useful for me anyway.
It is. There's a lot of different functions in Notebook as well, and I think the more that you think about what you're going to bring to it and what you're going to do, take your time. Like I see a lot of teachers and people, they will just like hope for the best all the time, and it does work sometimes, but if the more that you go back and just like that learning goal that I did, you know, I could then go and think about how can I connect that in with learning? How can I connect that in with my math class? I was an elementary teacher. I would look at something like that. If we were doing a world food study, we could learn about culture, you know, use some of these great bits of knowledge, find some great websites, even find some great documents, find a great YouTube video that explains it, because it'll capture all of the transcript of the video as well. And the way that you're defining your purpose is going to be the best, and you could make it your own. My purpose, if I showed you, I write books as well, and if I show you how I use Notebook for my book writing, it might look a little bit different. But I like to look at different things happening in my story, and I say, can you make a slideshow about that scene? You know, it's a bit of fun. Or make an audio about someone roasting my book or saying all sorts of problems with the book. And it's kind of funny. Like, it's like you can be really clever and say, I want you to give me new endings for the book or something, and the AI will create these great things. And I really think about Notebook as an engine. And this is AI. We see AI too much as that chat, and it's kind of a little bit drives you crazy. But the more you see it as the engine that's driving all of these things, the AI is creating those images, the AI is creating those things, the clearer that you are with your learning goal and your expectations, just like you are with students, you're going to be really clear. You've got to explain it. I would imagine Tom just had a class of grade 2 students and 50 of them. And, you know, you have to really explain. If you're going on a computer, you can't say, just go to Minecraft. I made that mistake as a teacher before. Go, here's Minecraft. Go, have fun. Well, that class was crazy. I didn't set expectations. I didn't have a learning goal. I didn't do a project. The students didn't know what work they had to do. They all just started bombing houses and napalming forests, and it was crazy. And so the more that you learn that as a teacher, right? You learn, okay, I need to have an expectation. I need to tell people where they're going. If I'm designing an assessment, I need to think about what I want to see so I can go back and follow that process along. So the more that the way you think as a teacher, if you're speaking to a student, that articulate, I would like you to do not open your book, you know, that really clear information, you put that into AI. Now I use an app where I just talk. I don't even type anymore. And I have this great app, and it just blah, 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 blah. I talk, and I work it out with AI. I want to teach about Colombian food. I have some students that are interested in maybe the dances of Colombia. Some people love the music that they've heard. We may have shown a few different things, and then you put that into AI. You know, it's like the more that you work with knowing what your students want and also are interested in, then you can create this, but also have it as a highly engaging learning experience with lots of learning milestones. You could do assessment through this way if you're clever. It's just great for that. Use it as a way of, it doesn't have to do everything in your teaching, but use it targeted. If you've ever done a high literacy program, or if you've seen how they work, intervention programs, numeracy intervention programs, they are the best places to start, because you think about how much knowledge they need to know. Well, that student is unable to do that formula to work out that division strategy. So then, you know, it's all of that little knowledge that you're doing, and you can put that knowledge into the AI and say, this is what I have now, what can you give me? And that's that kind of way of using AI. It works on everything, because I use Google Gemini, Claude, I use Perplexity, I use ChatGPT. I'm now testing a range of other ones, which I won't say, so I'll wait till Tom Millinchip is excited to go, what is Phil talking about? But talking about some other AI ones, even going into automations and things. As a teacher, the information that you put into AI, if you have that strategy, you can then put that into another AI. Let's say that ChatGPT creates an amazing image creator or something, or they do. But Gamma, for example, is another AI tool. You can then use the same strategies with that. And so I feel like if you want to have good strategies with AI, it's really going to work in every type of AI. And if it doesn't, then it's probably not a good strategy, because the AI is guessing or trying to work it out and give you different answers. And that simple approach and using constraints. Yeah, I love that, Latoya. It's, you know, it's a lot of people aren't tech savvy with these things. And I feel like the people that are not so tech savvy are getting the best results, because they're like, all right, this is what I want. I don't know what this thing is. And you're putting in that information. So yeah, thank you so much, Latoya.
Jumping on that as well, like you've mentioned it already, and it's been said for the last couple of years, like the teachers are actually some of the best users of AI, because we know how to dig deeper into the kind of the mindset, the psyche of children, and therefore we know how to do that to AI as well. And I think, like, I've just been writing a whole load of posts about Claude, and on each one I've always said, like, this works so far, but still make sure you push back, right? There's always kind of like the iteration part still is, some people go, oh, well, I didn't get what I wanted first time round. But actually you need to go back to it and just say, you didn't produce what I wanted first time round. Now do this, right? And that kind of pushing back and digging deeper, asking more questions, it works really well with AI, and so teachers are actually really well set up compared to some people for doing it.
Very much. Yeah. And it's transferable to other industries as well. There's lots of business people now calling out, if you're an educator, please, you know, because they know that educators just have we have incredible communication skills. The way that we can explain things, you know, we know that if we go to parties, we can be like, blah, 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 blah. We could talk, we can explain things. Everyone's like, wow, they're interesting. Those teachers, a little crazy, but interesting. And we can explain it. And I take that same knowledge, exactly the same as Tom said, you know, is really, if you didn't get it, the output you want, just go back and start again. It shouldn't be like, oh, what have I done wrong? What did I do? I've seen some people like really get upset about these things, and it's like, no, just go back, have another try. It might have taken me 50 tries to do something, and then I show it. Now I can do it quite confidently. I can say, I can do this now, because it's a lot of practice. That's all it is. But I really think, Tom, what would you say? What's the most important strategy you would use with AI?
I mean, sometimes I forget to use any kind of particular structures, but going through what there's a variety of them out there, all these acronyms, like making sure that you've got some people like put in, and it was definitely the case maybe a year ago, like putting the role in, putting all that kind of stuff in. There's the prep and then prepare, because Dan Fitzpatrick, he kind of extended it a bit, as I think it was him. And I generally sit down and I type and I kind of think, right, have I ticked all the boxes first time round? Because I know that, as you said, when you start using it and you use it a lot, then you know what works and what doesn't. And also going back to what you said about using different tools, right? It's a pretty good thing to maybe you're sitting there with 5 tabs open and there's 5 different AI lined up and just saying, right, Gemini's going to give me this, Claude's going to give me this, ChatGPT is going to give me this, and see actually which one works the best, because they are actually better at some things than others. And for example, Claude runs out of tokens faster, memory faster, and Gemini doesn't, so you can do all that kind of stuff. So my strategy now is I'm never going to just type in one sentence unless I'm halfway through a conversation. If I'm doing a conversation, I've already laid the groundwork and it's come back with something, and I kind of go, now do this, right? I'm going to be really short and really direct about it. But to start it all off, I kind of go, right, am I giving it enough context? Imagine I'm not me and I'm trying to understand what I'm trying to do. Have I told it all the things that it's going to need? And yeah, it's like all the little key points, right? If you're just, even one word is going to change the difference. Like if you're talking about creating a lesson plan for a particular age group, obviously, if you just say create a lesson on the water cycle, it's going to try and guess which age you're talking to. It might make a kind of one size fits all kind of overview. But if you say I'm teaching grade 4 water cycle, in my class there are 30 children, 2 of them have got EAL, 2 of them are autistic, whatever, and you give that list of all those different things, and the context is there, and then it's going to really fine tune stuff first time round. It's not necessarily going to be the perfect thing to start with, but then you push back, and then you can just tweak it. An example today is with these grade 2s you mentioned. We were talking about attributes, and I was trying to think, like, with soccer kits and things like that, just to design their own kits. And so I was like, do I have something online that I can give to them that's a game or something? So I actually just went onto Canva, and said, right, can you put me together this game where they drag and drop colored shirts onto a kind of body template and flags and that kind of stuff. And first time round, I tried it out. I mean, the problem with Canva is that the graphics and those things is not particularly good, but the basic concept for 6-year-olds was absolutely great. But my point is that I did 5 different back and forths to get, so I had version 5 by the time that I had actually handed it over to the kids. It's not going to work first time, especially when you're trying to create apps and sites and things like that. Then you've got to come back and forth, and people spend days doing that. So it's definitely worth investing the time. But going back to what you said, like everybody on this call and everybody else outside, like if you're new to it, it's just kind of sidelining some time, sitting down and just trying it out. You're not going to
have fun with it.
You're not going to suddenly cause some kind of massive global bank crash or things explode or whatever. Right? If you make a mistake, you make a mistake and you just start again. So it's kind of, from that point of view, that's one of the best strategies actually with AI, is just to kind of keep going and trying stuff out. So.
Unless you have a Claude co-work on your browser, and I see people ask it, clean up my emails, and it goes and deletes all these extra emails, and it can do some things when it has an automation browser.
Yeah,
I haven't spoken to Tom a little while about with AI and things, and I don't know, I spoke to him a little while ago, and I can already hear, like, I think before he was sort of trying to work it out and things, and now he's got such great strategies, he's working that out, thinking of those capabilities and all of that. And Tom, did you have any, what was that guy's name? There was a guy at your school, Seb. Yeah, he's such a great user. I won't go into the reason why he's such a great user of AI. He did a lot of analysis on certain things, and he became an amazing user just using it on, I'm forever asking questions about Mexico, and I'm that kind of person, always inquiring. After a while, you just start to work out, all right, maybe I don't ask that question, or maybe I can ask that. It's just natural ways of working with it. And everyone that has high AI fluency, the best people in the world, in my opinion, they're called power users. They're exactly the same. Sometimes they get questions and they just go to AI and answer it, and people pay them money. They're like, I don't know the answer, but they want to pay me $1,000 for this answer because I'm an expert. And they just said, what's your context? What's your things? They added a few little extra things that they can do, and bang, they've got an answer. So they're really transferable skills. I use it for my own study all the time. As you can tell, I'm obsessed with food and looking forward to a retirement of being some kind of chef somewhere, selling coffee and maybe even some delicious Colombian cuisine and Mexican and everything else. What I'll do, I can cook lots of foods. I was a chef in my previous life. I miss it a lot, but I use it as a passion. So I have my work time, I call it, and I focus on that in the morning. I have the 3 hours in the morning is like serious stuff, working out, learning goals, lots of things. But then in the evenings, in the afternoon, after I go and have my lovely swim at the beach, I come back and I'm all excited. I've got great ideas. I've been thinking about it while I'm swimming and doing things. And then I'm like, all right, now I can have some fun with AI. And they're the moments that you learn the best. You really do. You just go, whoa, how did I work that out? And sometimes I put it onto LinkedIn and I have like all these people saying, I'm using that in my university course. And I'm like, I kind of was just having fun with AI yesterday, and then it came up with this idea. I'm like, wait, what if you make a game-based learning escape room? You sort of think, oh, I have a math subject. It's really difficult to teach. Wait, I'll do that. And you get excited, and sometimes it's not very good in the output, but sometimes it'll work really well. And that's really that experimental innovation stage, is slowing yourself down. What are you observing? What is happening? What's the information that's being given? Is it too complex? Is it too simple? Is it learning? What am I learning from it? And then you can start to feel like that's what the students are feeling like. I also work with students and have a lot of awareness on the way students are using AI. And as soon as you sort of have that, hey, you can have fun with it, you can explore with it, you can have that, suddenly they have a lot more motivation, and they're not like, oh, I'm not trying to write the right thing. I don't need to, but my teacher said I have to do a this and that. No, you don't. You really just have to experiment and start building up that knowledge. So that prompt that I made before, maybe I will watch those videos. Maybe I will, well, I'm going to, because it looks delicious. I'm going to watch the videos, and then I might go back to the prompt and think, okay, how did that prompt give that information? And that's the kind of questions, that's how I think about AI. I don't really get stressed over it. People call me this amazing user and everything. And I just think, I'm just constantly experimenting, but documenting my experiments and understanding from a learning perspective. What is this? How does this relate to learning? If this is a great image, that's good, but how can I use that for learning? So that's pretty much my message. I hope that made sense for everyone. It's great to see you again, Tom. I love what you're doing here. I think this is great for the Bahamas, and thank you everyone for being the first.
No worries.
The very first.
Do you want to drop back into what you were doing on NotebookLM and see if what's kind of loaded, and see if anything you can show from what?
That is a good idea. Yes, I was definitely going to do that. All right, let's have a quick look and see. Okay, so we have the golden arepa. So
look at that.
I forget my prompts all the time, so I'm always like, okay, I want to learn about. Okay, I'll go back to that, and we can have a look. Oh my goodness, this looks amazing. Lover's Guide to the Beloved Golden Griddle Cake. My goodness, this looks amazing. So you can see lots of little diagrams, some heritage. I love the little corn kernels there. Oh my goodness, this is great. I'm going to show my wife this. She loves food as well. But this is very cool. So that's what that came up with. We can have a quick look at the video. I won't watch it, of course. But
all right, welcome.
Today, we're putting on our chef's hats, and we're going to deconstruct one of the most fundamental, yet absolutely brilliant dishes in South American cuisine, the arepa. And I want you to forget everything you think you know about it being just a simple corn cake. We're going to break it down to its very core, from the kernel of corn to that final, glorious bite. So let's get into it.
And look, right out of the gate, you have to understand the
So that's that. I would love to watch that. I'll watch it later. And then we also have the audio.
This is the brief on arepas. Today we're exploring the arepa, an ancient, highly versatile South American corn cake that literally serves as the ultimate canvas for delicious ingredients. First, let's break down what this actually is. It's basically a flat, round, unleavened patty made from ground maize or corn flour.
Sounds delicious. And as you can see there, it's 1 minute 40. So it's a nice little one. So I might look at even the video might be too long for me at the moment. I'm a little bit tired. I've been working all day. And so I just want to do that one and see, well, okay, that'll help me. Anything that you want to learn as well, put it in there and have a look, and it should help. Cool. Very good.
Awesome. So thank you for sharing all your wisdom.
Great.
And thank you for everybody who has joined in to us today. I did record it, so I will be passing on to. There's been a few people who said, "Look, I can't make it today. Can you share it?" And that's why I've been doing it. So even if they're not going to see it live, I think they will appreciate the information and the approach to using NotebookLM. I think as I said before, it's just one of those tools that kind of really is awesome, and the fact that it kind of came out of basically accidental Google Lab stuff is really cool. I love that.
Only the beginning.
Yeah, man, exactly. So thanks, Phil, for joining us on our first AI Ready Bahamas, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I am not going to share the slide right now, but if you're on this call and you haven't joined the community that I've emailed about before, the school community, if you haven't looked at Instagram, although I'm not using it massively at the moment, but I am going to be getting going there. And I've also got an AI Ready website where I will upload stuff from today, and there's already information about the event that happened last week as well. So there's a few different avenues to pursue if you want to keep looking at it. And finally, if you've got any questions, feel free to email me. If it's got, it could be, it doesn't matter how small it is. It could be about AI. It could be about doing things, whatever it is. Just let me know, and I'm more than happy to do it. I will do, Latoya, no problem at all. I think it's going to be every month going on the survey. And so I haven't quite lined up the next person, but I've got a number of people who have offered. So it'll be good to go on that. All right.
Thank you so much.
So have a great evening, guys. Have a great weekend as well. And we will speak soon. Thank you, Phil, again, once again.